Welcome to the first episode of Not So Southern Gentlemen, starring Ricky and my co-host.
And I'm Sean. And we're just going to talk about a bunch of nerd stuff and what's going on in the nerd world, as we would call it, I guess.
And Not So Southern Gentlemen because we are located in the beautiful state of Arkansas, the natural state. And we are not the stereotypical Hollywood jokey joke version of our people from Arkansas. So you may get that. You may get that with our personalities. You may get that with what we say, or you may go, "Oh, that's what I figured." So,
yeah.
So what's up?
Not much. Just looking through. I took some notes over the week and had some topics stuff we could talk about, like. I'm honestly pretty much set that I will wait on DVD for Batman Superman.
Well, let's talk about that because I've listened to, I can't tell you how many sources already, and it's people I trust, like Kevin Smith, like Justin Robert Young, and they're all saying what you don't want to hear. So what's your thoughts?
I'm waiting. I'm seriously am. I don't care. Whether it's a good movie or not, I'll judge once I see it, but it's not worth me putting forth the time or effort to go see it in the theaters. It's not worth the movie ticket to me. If I can see it earlier, I'll see it earlier, but I'm not paying for it.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of all comic books. I am more of a Marvel guy, but DC with... All right, here's a good point to start with. You loved Man of Steel.
Yeah,
I think Man of Steel is a good movie, but I don't think it's a great a Superman movie.
And I know the point you're making. I understand that, but I'm just saying, you're never going to get to see a Dragon Ball Z movie done that way. So you might as well enjoy it and take it as Superman versus Zod. You gotta admit, if that was
everybody's.
I'm just saying, if that was Goku and Vegeta up there fighting like that, you would be so impressed with them smashing into buildings and falling down all over the place. You would be impressed. Don't act like if that wasn't Goku. If that was Goku and Vegeta, you would love it.
Okay, we'll go into it. If it was Goku and Vegeta, I would be greatly excited because that is the source material. But Superman running through buildings and destroying thousands of places where thousands of people are and bringing the fight to where people are
I do not understand that part. Why? Why do you people that don't like the movie all of you...
What do you mean, you people?
Yeah, you people that don't like the movie. You always bring up the point that he brought the fight to Metropolis. What the hell are you talking about? They set that freaking machine directly 180 degrees out on the other side of the Earth perfectly so it could start the geometric whatever, blah, 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 the terraforming that it was doing.
The gravity waves.
He didn't set the machine on the other side of Metropolis to the other side of the planet. He didn't choose the spot. He was there because he had to stop that machine. That's the reason that all the destruction got caused in Metropolis. The Zod Superman fight did not destroy as many buildings as their World Ender did. The World Ender did 65% of the damage.
Right,
and that's not Superman's fault.
Story writing. The visuals and the actions are good. Don't get me wrong, Zack Snyder. I love Zack Snyder as a movie maker. I think that Watchmen is hugely underrated. I mean, it's a great movie, not a good movie. It's a movie you want to watch.
He knows how to
do it. It's a movie you have to watch 3 or 4 times. Even though, and I'll go to what people say his worst movie is, Sucker Punch. Is one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. The story is not great. Nobody will say that it's a great movie on story, but he went out and tried something in his style, and I respect it, and I love the visual of it.
It's One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's a modern One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That's all it is.
But my point on Superman is that the story, the way they set up the story, wasn't conducive to Superman. He takes, whenever he goes to fight at the home, he takes the Kryptonians right into the middle of Smallville. Superman would not do that. Superman would get the fight away. Superman 2 was a better movie just because of the fact he stopped the fighting and left before anybody else.
Stop!
This Superman did not do that.
The people! Stop
Absolutely.
the people!
Absolutely.
Yes.
But anyway, well, that's my opinion on the movie. We're talking about Batman versus Superman, which neither of us have seen yet.
No. Plan on it.
And I mean, we give it that. We may walk in there or bring it home and see, oh my God, what were we thinking? This is another, personally for me, Pirates of the Caribbean. Never saw it in the theater. Huge mistake. I would love to see that movie on the big screen. And this may be one of those times. I give it that. But from the talk I've heard, from the spoilers I have heard, you could consider them spoilers or not. We could talk about them if you want. The movie's been out long enough. Do you want to hit spoilers or just continue?
No, we don't have to hit any spoilers. Not right now. I mean,
okay.
I don't care about any of the spoilers. Look, I understand that Ben Affleck is probably awesome at Batman.
And that's the best part of the movie.
Yes, that's the best part of the movie is Ben Affleck as Batman. That's cool. And Jesse Eisenberg is the worst thing ever in a comic book movie, apparently. Like, he's apparently Mr. Freeze bad. I read somebody saying that he was Mr. Freeze bad. That's horrible. I don't want to see Jesse Eisenberg be that horrible. So, I dread that part.
Well, I mean, just from the trailers, and we have seen the trailers, why would you approach Lex Luthor, the most diabolical, one of the biggest villains in the DC? I mean, like, this is a human character who stands up against, the likes of Darkseid as a bad guy, the likes of Doomsday as a bad guy, the likes of Lobo. I mean, like, he's one of the big guys. I mean, he stands toe-to-toe with the Joker when it comes to your DC bad guys. I mean, it's like, there's an easy example on the Marvel side, which is, of course, Kingpin. If you've seen the Daredevil Netflix series, Kingpin, as played by, what's his name?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio is amazing. He is a force to be reckoned with, and he's given the love and tenderness of your hero. He's given his backstory, and you care for the guy. I mean, he is set up to be the most menacing, evil guy you've ever seen. And it's done so eloquently. And the Kingpin before was this fat sumo guy who I've seen punch demons in the face and make a joke in the comic. I mean, he's laughable. He was a Spider-Man villain who Frank Miller pulled over to be against Daredevil and made amazing. And they treated that as such. Yeah. But Jesse Eisenberg
just can't get it right.
Was fighting. Well, they were fighting an uphill battle to start with that casting. And, man, I mean, my personal bias aside, he's a great actor. The Social Network is a great movie, great performance. Yeah. I just don't know. I just don't know what their approach was.
They don't have one. That's their deal. They don't have an approach. What's your approach? Copy Marvel. Yes, but how do we do this? Copy Marvel. Copy Marvel. That's just all they do. Hey, what do you want to do? Copy Marvel. Yes.
Well, it's
everything
not just
they
that.
do, we want to copy it.
I've heard. I listened to Kevin Smith's podcast, Fat Man on Batman, for a while now, and he's worked in the Warner Brothers studio system, and it's suits all day, every day. It's people, double checking decisions of people who they pay to take care of stuff. Yeah. And when you get that kind of sanitized, my opinion, let me look at it again. You don't get that shoot from the hip, but right kind of, Marvel's out in the Wild West being marksman, and DC is, firing a machine gun, hoping they hit something. Yeah. Which sounds backwards from the way their system works, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But you never know, because we were saying the same thing about Fox Studios with the Marvel properties. Could not do a great movie. Now, they have done a good movie. The two new and soon to be third X-Men movies.
No, don't give that third one. Don't give that third one any credit. Yeah, I've seen the trailer.
Not out yet.
I've seen the trailer.
But Deadpool is the biggest R-rated movie of all time.
And they had their hands so far off of that because they were planning on it to bomb. I guarantee you. They gave him the green light to do whatever the hell he wanted because they thought it was gonna bomb. And they bit the big bullet. That's where they screwed up. They were planning on that thing bombing, and now they've got to follow up that with that piece of crap X-Men Apocalypse. Please let the trailer be wrong. It looks horrible. Did they just be like, hey, those first two X-Men weren't half bad, and then we totally screwed that third one. You want to try that again? See how that goes over? Seriously, what the trailer looks like. It's what they did. Oh, check it out. Do a couple of good X-Men, then throw it all in the crapper. I don't understand.
Right. Well, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen enough to judge that on. Oscar Isaac's in it. He turned in a great performance in Star Wars, and I have too much love for it to sit here and just bash on it before I see it. So,
wait, that's Apocalypse?
He's closer since I did some color correction instead of the.
So Poe,
yes.
Poe Dameron is Apocalypse.
Absolutely, yes, that is Oscar Isaac.
I did not know that. That makes me even hate the trailer even more because what a waste of a talented young actor, and you're just gonna throw it away because now you got this other guy that could be like an icon in two different series, and you're gonna waste it on some piece of crap that has Storm as a. I hate Storm. I've always hated Storm. So the fact that she's even an integral part of the whole story is going to just turn me off from the get-go. I hate Storm. I've always hated Storm. So stupid. I don't like her character. I don't like Aurora Monroe, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Aurora Monroe can stick it. She's a high, pretentious bitch.
Listen, do you know what happens when you get struck by lightning?
Oh, Jesus. So stupid.
What is a Build-A-Bear Ewok? What the heck?
Oh, you see in the notes.
I do see the notes.
Okay. The Build-A-Bear.
Yeah, I know trust me, I have two kids. I know Build-A-Bear.
Yeah. Well, they have a limited edition Ewok that's coming out this week.
Ooh.
And
Yub yub.
Yeah, yub. Yeah, it's based off of
Wicket?
Yeah, Wicket.
Can I get my Chief Chirpa or my Logray?
I do not know that. The one I seen just said yub and said
or my Nita.
Wicket, and said that, there would be accessories you could put on them, like you could put the warrior belt or something on them.
A bandolier?
Yeah. A Wookiee thingy. Sure.
Since they're mini Wookiees to start with.
That's true. But I figure we'll have to go get one for Jax.
$28.
Yeah, we got a $10 off coupon because we freaking bought a $50 Stormtrooper bear. Seriously, I paid $50 for a Stormtrooper bear.
Sucker!
Oh yeah, he got all the little works. He has all the little add-ons to it.
And I can say anything I want. I've got 5 of those things laying around the house.
We named him Finn.
Of course you did. What? Of course
Shut
you
up,
did.
dude. I was on the spot. Like, I didn't know what.
No,
to do.
That's perfect. It's absolutely perfect.
Because you go to the front. I'd never been there. I don't know what the situation is. And then they're like, "What's his name?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? What's his name?" They're like, "You get to name him, and he gets a birth certificate." I was like, "What? That's ridiculous." They're like, "Yeah, name him." And I was like, Stormtrooper. His name's Finn.
FN 128. Or Traitor. You should have named him Traitor. Ah.
Yeah, that's what I thought before. Is to do like TR
8R
8 TOR.
Just jump on the meme and hug it.
Oh yeah.
Kiss its friggin' nasty cheeks. That's
Dude.
all right.
Which leads me into the Star Wars DVD that came out this
now,
week.
is it DVD specifically for a question or for a reason, or is it just the release of the movie?
No, I just put DVD because I still use generic DVD / Blu-ray release, whatever. But it got me thinking because I rewatched it, obviously.
Well, we just did today also.
Yeah. You know what I like? Okay, this is something I didn't. There's a lot of people that go around criticizing Kylo Ren. Okay,
Well,
me, but you know me. I rewatched it, and the second time through, I realized I have no problems with Kylo Ren because, dude, if I had dark powers and I was just pissed off all the time, which you know I like to sometimes put myself in a state of anger. Man, I would not want to be the Jedi to be messed with. I would be slashing shit up all the time. I would have a temper tantrum every now and then and just start force wrecking crap. How much fun would that be? You're
well,
just
the
like,
whole
ah! Yeah. He's totally undisciplined and he's a brat. But if you got force powers, don't act like when you got mad, you wouldn't have like a personal little fit sometimes, because that would be fun.
well, Kylo Ren, number one, I mean, plays into he's relatable. I mean, he's absolutely relatable to everybody. Everybody wants to be able to cut loose when they get just pissed off. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what the guy does. I mean, and I think that now I have no information whatsoever to back this up, but story wise, it makes sense. Whenever they were approaching the idea of your villain in Star Wars, what's your go-to for a villain in Star Wars?
Darth Vader.
Darth Vader.
Yeah.
You're always going to be trying to compare or make better or stray away from this person being compared to Darth Vader.
Well, yeah,
but
which he is.
They went, wait a minute, turn this around. That's exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
The guy himself is comparing himself to Darth Vader. He's trying to live up to that legacy. That's his, and plus, of course, it's his grandfather.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of Kylo Ren is exactly what the fans are doing. I mean, they're comparing him to Darth Vader. He's comparing himself to Darth Vader, and he's saying and naming how he falls short before the audience gets a chance to. And that's perfect. That was perfect. Perfect villain for your next Star Wars movie.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Although man, I don't know. I like all of it. I personally thought it's an incredible movie. I have no problems at all with it somewhat mirroring episode 4, A New Hope.
Well,
I don't have a problem with any of the mirroring, because you know what? That's the way a trilogy works. A trilogy has a base movie, a conflict movie, and a resolution movie. That's a trilogy set, you know? So just because it's another base movie that we're learning from, it doesn't change the fact that it's going to be a trilogy.
Well, here's where you're wrong. And I don't mean you're wrong as in you're wrong. You're wrong as in your information isn't complete. It's not a mirroring of number 1. It's a mirroring of number 1 and number 2. Everybody is saying, oh, it's the same as number 1, but you forget.
When you say number 1, are you meaning episode 4?
Yes. Sorry. Let's go with the rename, A New Hope. And,
because one didn't happen. 1, 2, and 3 don't happen. All right?
You are absolutely correct.
They're not canon.
You were wrong at first, but now you're 100% correct.
Yeah, they don't exist.
The movie takes story elements from A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. The Empire Strikes Back part being, of course, the confrontation between Luke and Vader, but this time it's flopped. The father is confronting the light father is confronting the dark son rather than the dark father confronting the light son. The attempt by the father to sway is the attempt by the father to sway once again, but instead of being
the other direction,
it's a failure both times. And whereas Luke was proposed by Yoda, needed to kill his father to complete his training.
Yeah, like Snook did.
Okay, we kind of had
an interruption, a brief interruption. You were discussing how Kylo Ren was a lot the opposite of Darth Vader, but he was striving for the same. He wants to compare himself, but he's just not living up to the cut right now.
Right, and that's what the audience is going to do naturally anyway. So the writers went ahead and had the villain do that. So it was a great. It built one of the best villains in the Star Wars universe. I mean, of course, me saying that is not that good because I've only seen the movies. I never did the extended universe stuff. I mean, I know who, a couple of them are, who a couple of them look like. I know who Thawne is, but I never read much outside of it. What's your feelings on Kylo Ren, though?
I mean, I like him. I think he's fine with me.
I mean, that's strong character, good story.
Yeah, I think he's... Look, I mean, okay, so I'm looking at it from a real person perspective. Being military and having people that were in the military with children being raised around me when I was in. When there's a lot of military brat kids that are brats. And you got to think, this kid grew up with 2 generals for parents, one of which is a princess. You don't think he grew up thinking he was hot shit?
He was a pretty princess.
Yeah, he's a pretty princess. And then guess what? He's going to start getting trained by his uncle. And his uncle, I guarantee you, Luke told him, "Hey, you're kind of a spoiled brat, you know that?" At which point, he gets all pissed off and goes, "Well, you know what? Grandpa was right."
Well, that is an interesting story to tell, but I hope they don't fall into the prequel, even though Rogue One's coming out. The prequel, the original 1, 2, 3 prequels, trap of trying to tell that story, trying to tell the story of the whole Jedi training and Luke failing. They did that. It was spoken. We know. Don't need to see it. And you may do a flashback once again. That's fine. Don't tell me that story. Keep moving forward. Push forward.
Yeah, keep going. I want to be able to make that story up in my own head.
Right. And other hype.
I mean, that's the fun stuff. I like doing the parts that we'll never see.
Right. And
it's what
we could fall into the Patton Oswalt, his whole thing about the prequels. We don't want keep it simple. Wait till you have a good story, then show that to us. And if it's something that happened before, that's fine. If it's Rogue One, that's great. Let's do that. But don't just pander. Wait. Okay. Like, the best example I can think of is Blizzard Entertainment, who doesn't release the game until it is ready.
Except for their servers.
Oh!
Speaking from experience, they do make a good, clean game from the get-go. They don't mind putting stuff off, but they never keep up with their servers. Now you said Rogue One, so we might as well.
Well, hold on. Before we hit that,
okay.
I tried to segue to video games, but that was a failure because I see on here Ray's father question, which is a very good question. I noticed something else today, but why did you put that in there?
Because second time through watching it. And, I'm a YouTube fiend. So, I'm watching a YouTube channel that I watch on a normal basis. And they bring up, who's Ray's father? Here's some why it could be this person. And here's some why it's not going to be this person. And if you think about it, it's setting you up so that the average person that has seen nothing but the films can walk in, and the ones that are not nerds like us, the ones that just take the movie as it is, they all go, "Well, she's a Skywalker." Yep, she's a Skywalker. That's what the average person believes. Now, the rest of us are going, is she a Skywalker? Is she? Because, let's see, Anakin, these are some of their points. Anakin, on a desert planet, needs to find a way out, gets caught up in the rebellion. Luke, on a desert planet, needs to find a way out, catches up with the rebellion. And now we're going to go with Rey. So could we make her any more Skywalker? the lightsaber that calls to her is Skywalker's lightsaber. Apparently, if you slow it down enough, there are clips in the Knights of Ren dream sequence that are from the Anakin Obi-Wan fight of Episode 3. There are also brief scenes of the Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker Return of the Jedi fight as well.
Now I've stepped through it frame by frame, and I didn't see that. Now I did see, of course, the major ones you catch whenever she touches the lightsaber, or the fight at Bespin in Cloud City, because that's the corridor she first has the vision in. And then what I did notice was that whenever the vision that leads to Luke, and then she rolls into the vision of the Knights of Ren, she is seeing the perspective of her laying on the ground. Somebody is about to hit her with something, and he gets lightsabered through the chest by Kylo Ren, which means that Kylo Ren stopped somebody from killing somebody, whether it was her as seeing her vision as a small child, or her seeing the vision of somebody who's touched a lightsaber. Who knows? But Kylo Ren does act in defense of the person she's seeing the vision from. So that's kind of an odd point that I haven't heard anybody bring up yet.
That's true.
And then, of course, it shows her, her perspective of being left on Jakku.
Well, and they also say you hear the three different. You hear
Yoda.
Three different. Well, you hear Yoda. You hear
Ewan McGregor, Obi-Wan.
And then older Ewan McGregor, or older Obi-Wan, which is
Alec Guinness. Yeah.
Alec Guinness, yes.
Yeah, and they pulled that clip from him saying "afraid" in one of the movies and got Ray
right.
out of it,
And
which
they
was
were saying,
great.
And they were saying that, that's because Obi-Wan has such a tie to the Skywalker family. That's the reason she would hear his voice, is because Obi-Wan was there for Anakin. He was there for Luke. He needs to be there for Rey.
Well, here's the exciting part of
I don't want her to be a Skywalker. I want her somehow, some way to be a freaking Kenobi. That's just me personally, though. I want them to work it so that she's a Kenobi. Obi-Wan's the real badass in all these movies. He's the man. Obi-Wan's the man. I just want her to be a Kenobi. I think it'd be so badass.
Yeah, well, I mean that would be pretty good also, but I think all evidence points to it is Luke's daughter. Or maybe possibly a daughter he didn't know about. Maybe Mara Jade in this universe exists and she took the little one away before any of this happened. I don't know, but I mean that'll be exciting to find out in the next movie or later. But everything I've seen, and even I noticed something else today, and I did not write it down, and now of course I forgot until probably the next viewing, that points to her connects her to Luke. And here's, I know it's not on the notes, but here's an argument to make that I've heard everywhere. That her character is overpowered. Now, before we get into this, there's a lot of ways to go with it. People shouting like, "Oh, you're not a feminist, you're a sexist," or any of that. That I don't care about any of that. I think it's a great movie. I love Rey as a character, but she is overpowered in the true sense of the word, but I think they're going to explain that in the next few movies. Now, the word Mary Sue I'm not going to use here because it is now a derogatory term. It is not the term that it was originally used as. So that's not where I'm going to. But I don't have a problem with the way her powers were presented, her power set. I do have, she had never seen the mind control technique used and pulled it off on Daniel Craig. So that I kind of have a problem with when I watch it. But other than that, everything else is fine. I mean, the Force is helping her. She's strong with the Force. And you got to remember, and this was my point before we walked off, it's called The Force Awakens. And J.J. Abrams said There's been something has happened with the Force where it has become supercharged, and it's very, very noticeable on Rey, and then of course it's very noticeable on Kylo, who's doing things, and they do this on purpose, who's doing things with the Force that we hadn't seen yet, doing things amazing with the Force, and that's the whole reason.
Like stopping a blaster.
Yes, which
Like stopping a blaster.
is the hell of the greatest